said, he said, I believe, and we were doing the believe thing, I believe that I don't have to pay income tax. I believe this, I believe this. Well, you could say, I don't believe that I have to pay property tax. And then couldn't the county say, well, we believe, or some person would say, I believe you have to pay property tax. So would it be sort of like, back and forth on that deal? And I mean, I don't know how to put this way, but I'm just thinking that, well, they believe that way and you believe this way. I mean, it's sort of like you're caught in the crossroads. So what do you think about that? I mean,
it makes me laugh when you say exactly what you said, because this is why people always call me an a-hole my whole life, because I've always done this to you folks. Not to you folks, to everybody in society, every kind of teacher, principal, cop, anybody. You just said, I don't believe I have to pay property tax, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I just put an issue up.
Okay. I don't believe I have to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, because if you start saying I don't have to pay property tax, it's like, okay, property means what I believe is exclusive to my jurisdiction, under my absolute and exclusive control, in which nobody within a society may enjoy other than me, unless you can prove a vested interest. So there you go. Now, when you say property tax, that is such a vague statement. It's scary, just makes me laugh. Like, oh my God, property tax, that's ridiculous. My definition of property, I think, he is certainly different than the tax county recorder's version of property. I guarantee you, he says, this is what property means in our code. Oh, Mr. Lentz, what you just said is lovely, but it has absolutely nothing to do with what we believe. Well, that's great. Then we don't have a meeting of the minds. Because my belief in property is this. Your belief in property is that. So, how are we going to get a meeting of the minds going here? I don't have a freaking clue, because you know what? I don't want to negotiate with you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have any business with you. I don't want to communicate with you. I want nothing to do with you. Thank you. Can you please cease and desist and leave me alone of any more correspondence? I don't see any benefit that could possibly be derived by me talking to you any longer on this phone. Goodbye. There you go.
Okay, so here's another one. Okay, supposing that there is a contract, you have a contract with someone, when you say, like, if you talk about parole evidence, if you start talking about a contract, aren't you, like, voiding the contract out because now you've talked, is it parole evidence? It's sort of like you've now got the express written contract set off the side because now you're talking about a new contract.
Well, that's parole. That's parole rule evidence. Exactly. You said express. It has to be expressed with any not implied. Right. So, because you're using a parole rule, that's fine. If you're trying to say, if you want to be cute like me, I'm freaking cute all the time. I'm doing unbelievable amount of parole rule nonsense to people. Oh, what did you exactly say? Oh, your word in property. Oh, this is my belief in property. Oh, I'm sorry, but I created that document. You're bound by my rules and my interpretations. See, I created that document. I created that agreement. And you latched yourself to my beliefs. Now, you had every opportunity to read that contract and ask me, for as long as it took, what do you mean by property? Thank you for asking, because that is a huge word. That encapsulates a limited amount of things I could possibly claim as mine. I could claim the air I breathe, the water I drink, the cat I just kicked across the floor. I could claim anything I want. That's all my property. Now, it could go on forever. What's my definition of property? Now, if you're a good negotiator, you're going to trap me in a box. You're going to pin me in a corner. You're going to say, you're going to define that word. And we're going to go over this with a fine-tooth comb, because you're not going to screw me. You're not going to get over on me. I know how this game works, and I'm not playing it. I'm not just signing any damn thing that somebody else wrote. So if you guys are just running around signing every damn thing that somebody else wrote, whose fault is that? It's yours. It's all on you. If you don't understand the terms and the conditions, you don't understand every single word. And like I said, I heard this guy, Rod Krantz, make you laugh so hard. And saying this yesterday, saying you have to study the Carolina Code. You have to understand every nuance of every code, of every citation, of every precedent. Are you kidding me? It's going to take you hundreds of years. You did not create that code. You did not write that code. You have no right to even try to interpret that code. When you wrote that contract, when you wrote that book, when you made that painting, when you did that sculpture, only you could tell me what that sculpture means. Only Picasso can tell me what the Picasso means. Nobody else can. You can spend a lifetime. They have art professors that spend lifetimes trying to figure out what Picasso wrote. Picasso would come out of the grave in 2 seconds and said, "Who's hanging my paintings upside down? They belong this way. Who did this?" Those are all the art professors did. You know, he's been doing this for 90 years. He's an expert in the field. He gets paid $1 million a year to interpret the nonsense. Well, dude, it might be a lot easier if you flip the painting this way. It might help. Oh yeah, now I see the elephant holding a banana. Yeah, there you go. Who told you to? Well, I was the expert. I deciphered all the code. I read the books. Dude, did you write this thing? Now, are you trying to bind me to this thing? Yeah. How's this code applicable to me? Show me. Did you show me the joiner? Can you? Now, do I believe in social contracts? When you step out to the public, there's certain things like, no, you're supposed to wear clothes. Do I believe that? Absolutely. I believe in the social contract. I believe once you're in the private sector, you can do what you choose. But there is so little private sector left in this country, it's scary. Almost everything is government-controlled, regulated, audited. The government's got their fingers in the pie somehow. And the whole trick is separate the private from the public. So yes, this Griswold guy might have had an idea about saying, how do we separate ourselves from the public? But what I say to people is don't completely separate yourself from the public, because a lot of times it's a wonderful benefit to have the IRS on your behalf. Believe me, if you're a private person and you want to make a company grow, the IRS will compensate you and either lease products and lease cars and lease trucks and lease offices, and the IRS will make your company explode compared to what you have to do by trying to work a nickel and dime day by day. They'll give you all kinds of incentives to hire more people. So I showed my friend how to do this back in the 90s, and his company exploded. He did fantastic by working with the IRS. The IRS can't have more revenue coming in unless there's more people going to work, unless there's more jobs being created. They base their revenue on work and people's output and labor. So they actually encourage small businesses to thrive. So just because you might not understand how the IRS works, and you might not understand how Warren Buffett does, and Bill Gates understands the beauty of the IRS and how they manipulate it, because even Warren Buffett said, what? My secretary pays more in the IRS than I do. He knows how to milk the machine. If you don't know how to milk the machine, it doesn't mean it's an evil machine. It's just you don't know how to do it. But Warren Buffett really does, because he pays like no taxes. He's the richest man in the country. You see what I'm saying?